Word with Ashley Howard Teaches, and we are doing CC Cycle 1, Week 21, 5th edition memory work. Now this video is great for you if you are a mom teaching at home or if you are a tutor. So real quick, don't forget to check out my website at ashleyhowardteaches.com. You will find a great Spanish printable for beginners there that's so much fun. You will also find homeschool consultation that you can sign up and we can do one-on-one. And also don't forget to like this video if you're enjoying it. Thank you so much, and thank you for subscribing. You have no idea how much this helps to keep bringing you free, fun content. It just warms my heart every single time I see a new subscriber. So let's get started. So for geography this week, we are doing Canadian waters. Now, what's so interesting about this is that Canada has the most lakes of any country there is. So what I like to do is bring out the Canadian flag. Now, I just printed this one offline really quick. I can leave the link if you leave me a comment below where I found this one. And what I like to do is bring out some goldfish because this week we're talking about Canadian waters. Now, one interesting fact about Canada is it has more lakes than any other country in the world. In fact, I was reading today that 50% of the natural lakes are in Canada. So what I will do first for geography is give them one goldfish each that they can kind of swim to the different lakes and different bodies of water. And then as we go along, if you want to, I also thought of this idea is to make some tiny Canadian flags that they can move from each lake also. So you could choose goldfish, you could choose Canadian flags, it's kind of fun that way. And then as we have learned all those different ones, I will give them 5 goldfish or 5 flags and have them put them on as I say them. I also like to do them out of order so they don't just remember based on the order, but they really know these locations. So that is a great way to start for geography for Canadian waters. Let's move on to science. So for science, we are doing the 5 circles of latitude. So for those, I like to do it to this tune. What are the 5 circles of latitude? And then they'll repeat after you. Arctic Circle, Tropic of Cancer, Equator, Tropic of Capricorn, Antarctic Circle. So we'll go through and do those. We'll go through that song a couple of times. And then what I like to do is have them do different hand motions. So we might say them doing scissor hands in front, and then scissor hands in back, and then we'll stomp our feet as we say them, and then snap our fingers, and then clap over our head. And another fun one they like to do is like this with these kind of hands, and we'll do it as we say those. So just some fun with different ways to mix it up for that science topic. So that is our science for this week. What's also great is to show them on a map. So as they get older, as they're blobbing, as they're drawing maps and challenge, it's great for them to know where these locations are. So I know that there's some great printables that you can find on CC Connected that show these different locations too. So let's move on to English. So for English this week, we are talking about helping verbs and linking verbs. So for our helping and linking verbs, we will sing it to the tune of Old MacDonald. So it'll sound something like this. Am, are, is, was, were, be, being, been. Am, are, is, was, were, be, being, been. So we'll sing that 2 times in a row for each time that we sing it because it kind of fits in that song that way. So as we go through this, we'll sing that through twice. So that'll be a total of 4 times. So after we have sang that song twice, we will go through and do different voices. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You could either do it by them going around the table and telling them to pick a voice, or have voice cards for them to pull out. That's kind of fun too. I always like to pick new ones. So I will leave a link below for you to find different voices that you can use for your classroom. So be sure to look for that down below. So one of my favorites, a couple of my favorites are cowboy voice, opera voice, mad voice, surprise voice, mouse voice. So there's some fun ones. So I'll leave a link below for those voices that you can use in your class. You can also, I'll space them out enough where you can cut them out and use them to glue onto a popsicle stick. So those are kind of fun because you can laminate those and then use those for years for tutoring or teaching at home. So it's kind of a fun way to do that. So let's move on to history. So our history sentence, woo, it is fast this week. So So what I like to do is start out by handing out a Canadian flag to each child or each student, and I have them put it on the ground at their feet. So I like to have the kind of bigger ones, or if you actually have a maple leaf, that's even better. But I like to have them on the ground in front of them as we sing our history song, because at the end, when they talk about what the symbol of Canada is, they're going to hold those up. So let's start out with our hand motions for this week. So we're going to talk about the two different explorers. So as we say their names, it goes so fast. We're going to start like this. So for Cabot, we're going to jump to one side, and for Champlain, we're going to jump to the other side. And then for exploring, we're going to get our hand out like this and look all over. And then for the St. Lawrence River, we're going to make a giant river hands like this. And then for Hudson, we will go like this and make a sign language H like this. And then for war, we're going to have war hands like this, like two sides fighting each other. And then for Britain, we're gonna jump to one side and we're going to ski. And then for France, we're gonna jump to the other side and ski like this. And then when we talk about the maple leaf, we're going to put that paper at our feet, have it already ready for them. And then when we say maple leaf, they're going to drop to the ground, grab their Canadian flag. And then as we talk about Canada, we're gonna jump back up and have them hold them up. So that's kind of fun for them. They like to do those kind of things, so it's exciting. So those are our history hand motions and the fun things that we will do for history this week. So it's a very fast song, so I highly suggest starting out by just saying it and then going through and playing the music last, because it definitely is fast and they can get lost in it really quick. So this is history this week. Let's move on to Latin. Okay, so for Latin this week, for our fourth declensions, we are going to start with us. So it kind of sounds like moose. So I'm going to start with going like this. Okay, don't forget our fourth declensions. We start with us like this. So it's kind of fun. Now for this one, I like to start out, and first we're going to whisper it really quietly. And then we're going to say it a little bit louder, and then louder. And then what I like to do is kind of change it up a little bit, because we've done voices, we've done actions. So I'm going to hand them each a soft ball. And so they're going to practice catching it with one hand as they say them and go through it with themselves. So they're going to say them and they catch the ball as they say each one. Then we'll switch hands and I'll say, let's see if we can all catch the ball every time. Because what you don't want is everybody dropping the ball everywhere and then it's just chaos. So let's see if we can all do it together and catch the ball every single time we say it. So that's kind of a fun one to kind of mix it up, and then I can have everybody put their ball away. Okay, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna pass the ball around as fast as we can and say our Latin fourth declensions. So that's a way to keep it active, keep it fun, keep it engaging. So let's move on to math. Now our math this week looks daunting. I know, because it is just so long and it's so much, but they can so get this with the right song. So for this one, I am going to defer to someone else, because this is one I've learned on YouTube that I've always done with classes, and it starts out with opening parentheses, and they'll say that. So I will leave the link to that video below so that you have access to that. I don't want to take their song or take their tune or anything like that. So you'll be able to find that down below. Find the link for that. So that is a great one to do for math. I've also had people bring out letters as they do them. They bring out the different papers. So what you'll have is like a parenthesis, an A plus B, and then have each student hold one up as you go through and say it, or have them do it individually at their desk. That's kind of a fun way. And then what you can also do, another idea, is to put the whole sentence out in front of them on paper, and then each student gets a handful of M&Ms and they put it on each part as you say it. And at the very end, they get to have one or two, or take them home, or just discard them, whichever you please. So those are some different ways to do that. I highly suggest that you learn that song that I will link below, because it is so good. I've used it for years and years and years. And the great thing about CC is that the math usually doesn't change. So you'll be using this law for a long time, so it's very helpful. So So let's move on to review. So for review this week, I like to pass out white paper bags, and each child will get a bag, and then they get to add something to it each time they answer a question. So this is how it works. Every time they answer a review question, they'll either get a sticker, they might get a fluffy foam ball, they might get a marker. So each student gets the same thing each round, and they get to decorate it for someone that they care about. So they'll decorate this bag, and at the very end, I have a couple little things, maybe some pencils, or maybe some stickers that they can put in their bag to choose for their special person that they're giving this to. So it kind of is a way to work in service at the same time for them to love on others, and I tell them to show the love of God to everyone they meet. So this is the kind of fun one. It makes them so excited to love on other people. So this is a really sweet one and a really fun one. It's so fun to get them see who they're going to pick to give their special bag to. So this is a neat one that I just love. So that is it for review.